This is what happens when I write no script. I am just winging it. It's going to be real hard to tell what happens here. I'm heading out tonight to sleep at the trailhead so I can climb the tallest 14er in Colorado, Mount Elbert, at 14,439 feet. Today, I'm going to show you everything I bring with me in my day pack to tackle these tall giants. Some of this gear is newer upgrades, while other stuff I've had for years. So let's do this. Here in Colorado, there are 58 14ers, or peaks over 14,000 feet. That's more than any other state in the lower 48 because Alaska still crushes us. I've climbed 50 of them, including dozens of summits on some beginner peaks like Grays or Bierstadt. Hiking 14ers is a bit different because you go through like 87 weather systems on your way up. It's always hot at the trailhead and freaking windy and cold on the summit, and you can rarely breathe for half the hike. First things first, I prefer to always hike in a t shirt, not a tank top, not a long sleeve shirt. And I really like that shirt to be wool. So this week, I'm going with the Kari Tra Embla tee, which is this one. I'm probably going to destroy this beautiful green color. But I like this because it's enough breathability to keep me cool when I'm sweating on the way up, but it dries quickly. So when I get to the top and there's those cold, blustery winds, I'm not freezing wearing a cold shirt that's holding in all that sweat. After that, I'm a big fan of hiking tights. I love shorts on normal occasions, but for some reason on 14ers, I really prefer to have pants on, partially for the cold, partially for the rugged conditions. But I'm not a hiking pants gal, hiking tights. So this week, I'm also wearing a pair by Kari Tra, and these are them. We've got the Kari Tra Ane tights. I actually think these might be discontinued, which is a bummer because they are one of my all-time favorites. Not only do they have a nice fit and they're really stretchy, but they've got this super thick waistband. You can see it's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches thick. They have huge zipper pockets on both thighs. And then all this material right here is waterproof. So if you get stuck walking through a wet, grassy field or a little bit of rain, you don't have to worry about your tights wetting out. Next up, we have socks. This looks a little anticlimactic, doesn't it? But this is my little ball of socks, and I've had these socks for years because here's the fun thing. I will only hike 14ers wearing toe socks. I am a huge fan on toe socks, in particular in gingy toe socks, because of the little toes. I get a lot of blisters in between my toes, or I sometimes get like hot spots from where the side of my toes rub against my shoe. And if I wear these ridiculous looking little toe socks, all of those hot spots, all of that friction, all of those potential blisters are a non issue anymore. Next up, we're talking about my footwear, what's going over those cute little toe socks. For 14ers, most of the time I opt for trail riding shoes. This week, I'm going with these. These are the Solomon Genesis, which are the same shoes that ultra running superstar Courtney DeWalter wears. So in my head, I figure if Courtney DeWalter likes them, of course I'm going to like them, right? But I chose these. They're not zero drop like ultras. They have a lot of traction on the bottom, and they also have these speed laces here that Solomon is known for. We aren't done yet. I am huge on sun protection when I'm on the mountain. So starting out of the gates, I always have a hat. And if you've watched me on this channel for any period of time, you have likely noticed that I have about 11 billion trucker caps. So this week, I think I'm going to wear this one, which is actually one of an older one by Rachel Pohl, the artist on Instagram. I love this hat. You can tell there's sweat lines all over it. That's how you know I love this hat. But this will be on my head. And I will also always have sunglasses. And speaking of being on my head, I will be wearing these because these are some of my favorites. These are the Roca sunglasses, the Roca Torinos. A huge fan of them. They have an aviator shape, which means they kind of have a cute aesthetic, but they're full coverage and they're mirrored. So if I'm staring at people in a weird, odd way, nobody actually has to know. They are not polarized, so I don't wear them fly fishing, but they are great for 14ers, and these will definitely be coming with me. And of course, I can't forget sun protection. I've got the glasses, I've got the hat, I've got the clothing. That doesn't mean I don't wear SPF. I am not picky. I do both chemical and physical sunscreen. I've tested both. I feel like chemical works better. Physical will work better if I reapply it a lot, but I also know myself and I sometimes forget to reapply it enough. So for big days like this, I tend to go with chemical. I get this Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Dry Touch SPF 70. I don't actually think the SPF 70 does better than an SPF 50. I think I've read over 35 and it's all kind of the same. But I like this kind of sunscreen because it dries to like a powdery finish. So you don't feel like you have an oil slick on your skin. Mainly, I put this all over my face, my neck, the back of my neck, my ears, and then I slather my lips in sunscreen because you've never lived until you've sunburned your lips above 14,000 feet. Okay, we've talked about everything I'm going to have on my body, but that's not all I'm bringing. There's a whole lot more. And to carry it, I need a backpack. So tomorrow I'm going to be bringing this one, which is the REI Trail 25 backpack. I have tested dozens upon dozens upon dozens of day hiking packs over the years, and I have yet to find one that I really, really like. I always find some problem or annoyance, but this one's good enough. I like the color. It's got plenty of pockets for water and snacks and everything I need. Bring what I call a crisis puffy. 9 times out of 10, I don't use the puffy, but that one time when you actually need it, you are super stoked you have it. This one is by Rab, and it is the Mythic Ultralight Puffy. You can pack it down into this little stuff sack here, which is nice. It saves a lot of space. I think it's like 9 ounces, so it really doesn't weigh much. But if you want to use it, it has a lot of warmth and a hood, which is really great when you get into the high alpine and it gets cold. Does anyone else feel like talking about hiking a 14er is more exhausting than actually hiking a 14er? This is so much gear. Moving on to the accessories in my backpack, I always carry liner gloves, and in particular, these. I actually have no idea what these are called. They are by the North Face, and they are Gore-Tex Infinium. I got them a couple years ago to test, and they've become my go-to favorites because they are really, really lightweight, and they provide just enough warmth so that you can kind of ward off the chill. As I mentioned, I'll be wearing a trucker cap, and there's a good chance that's all I'll have on my head. I also have the hood that comes with my puffy, but just in case, I always pack a beanie with me. This doesn't have to be anything fancy. This week, I'm going with this blue one by Kari Traw. It's one of those oversized ones that kind of slouches on your head. I like this one because you can put it over top your trucker cap, which I do all the time because then you get the warmth of the beanie, but you still have the sun protection from the trucker cap brim. So that's it for clothing. That's it for all the apparel. But guess what? There is still more in my backpack. Once you get into the high alpine, you're dealing with all sorts of weird body issues. Sometimes you have super early starts. Sometimes your stomach starts acting up when you're on the mountain. Regardless of the why, a lot of times there's some weird bathroom situations that take place on the mountain. So first up, you know me, I will always be bringing a cooler cloth with me. I like having these when I have to pee. That way there's something to wipe with. I don't have to worry about it. Next, I always have this super glorious Ziploc bag full of baby wipes. If you've ever had to poop in the high alpine, you know the pain. Put a little water in the Ziploc bag with them, seal it up. That way you have what you need if you gotta go. Plus, you can take the used baby wipes, stick them back in your Ziploc bag, and carry them down the mountain. You know, maybe I should lay out my gear beforehand more often and make a video because doing this is making me realize I forgot one thing. A trowel. I have the baby wipes if I have to go poop, but if I do it before a tree line and I need to dig a hole, I will need a trowel. So I have this plastic orange trowel somewhere in this garage. I've got to go find it, but I will be adding that to my backpack because you have to have manners when pooping in the great outdoors. Last but not least, let's talk calories and hydration. Hiking Mount Elbert tomorrow is roughly 10 miles round trip, give or take, and depending on which source you believe, and around 4,500 to 4,800 feet in climbing. So it is a big day. So for me, I'm going to be bringing at least 2 to 3 liters of water, knowing that I'm probably going to run out on the way down. So I will also have another liter back in the car that I can chug when I make it back to the trailhead. Inside my water, I'm going to have 2 things. I'm going to dump at least 1 full package of Element to get the sodium, and then probably 3 full scoops of Tailwind with caffeine. Not only does the caffeine kind of give me a little extra pep in my step to keep me going, but the 3 scoops of Tailwind will add 300 calories to my water. So as long as I drink the whole thing, I know I'm also getting caloric intake. For snacks, I will be honest, I am not picky. Anything with calories will do, but I do like to emphasize carbohydrates and fat when I hike and save the protein for later. If you want to know more about that, you'll have to check out our video in the description all about tips for hiking at high altitude, because that is a key tip. But to do that, I bring a couple things. I always bring honey stinger waffles because they are delicious. And I'll also bring a gigantic bar of chocolate. By gigantic, I mean like this big, and we're not talking Hershey's. I like to get the dark chocolate with sea salt and a little bit of nuts. It's so good. And if you end up eating the whole chocolate bar while you hike, it's a solid 500 or 600 calories. I usually bring a couple energy gels like a Goo, Roctane, or a Honey Stinger gel, but I usually try to make sure one of those has some caffeine in it. And then I also try to bring some easy to eat snacks like gummy bears, trail mix. Once again, I'm more concerned about the volume of calories and less concerned about what they actually are. So that's it. Everything I'm bringing on my day hike tomorrow to hike the tallest peak in Colorado, Mount Elbert. I've got the clothes, I've got the gear, I've got the water, I've got the snacks. Now I've got to go get my car ready because I'm sleeping in it tonight. Thanks for watching, and if you have any tips you'd like to add, please link them below in the comments. Look forward to seeing you out there.